All right, what is going on, guys? Got another breakdown for UFC 276. This one is at middleweight. On the prelims, we got Dricus Duplessis taking on Brad Taveres. I'm not sure if Duplessis is ranked. I know Taveres is ranked 12th, but whoever wins this fight will have a number next to their name. Um, Duplessis going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. They're the same height, though. So I will start with Dricus Duplessis, I suppose. Comes in with a lot of polish, fighting out of South Africa, and mainly known for two fights he had with Roberto Soldic. The record is very good. Before that, he has a lot of fights with EFC and a few fights with KSW. A lot of finishes, very well rounded fighter. But Roberto Soldic, if you don't know, very, very highly regarded fighter out of Europe. I believe he's like 26, 27, and he's just enormous for the weight class. Very technical striker, got a lot of power, good at breaking his opponents down, and the UFC definitely wants to sign Roberto Soldic. Their last I saw, they were in a bidding war with KSW. KSW would like to keep him, and I think that the UFC offered 3 fights, 3 Ws, and he gets a path to the title off 3 Ws. So they're doing it exactly like they're doing it with Pahea. They see him as a guy who can contend, and Dricus Duplessis fought him twice, beat him the first time with a second round knockout in a barn burner, and then in the third one, Soldic just kind of outclassed him. Don't get me wrong, Duplessis was doing a lot of things well. He wasn't accepting the loss by any stretch, but that just shows that fight right there shows why Roberto Soldic is so highly regarded. Just kind of a flawless performance from him. Just kicked his leg off, set up his. He's primarily southpaw. Got a really fast and accurate left hand that does a lot of damage. He started to find that. Really though, just kicked his legs off big time. Duplessis is kind of heavy on the lead leg, but yeah, you can definitely go back and watch those KSW fights. They're a lot of fun, just to watch anyway, whether you're doing tape study or not. But if you're going to do tape study on Dricus Duplessis, you might as well. I mean, I would highly recommend watching those two. They're neither one is a complete fight, and again, they're just a lot of fun. But yeah, Duplessis, he has a lot of power in his hands. He primarily looks to land those boxing combinations, primarily boxing stance. He can be a little heavy on that lead leg, and Soldic did, I don't want to say exposed, but he showed that there is a path there. Then again, Soldic did that so well. But Taveres has shown an ability to break his opponents down with inside leg kicks, so that is worth keeping in mind. But Duplessis, yeah, a lot of power in his hands. Looks to land those boxing combinations primarily. He does have good kicking game, primarily good leg kicks. Sometimes he can throw some wayward leg kicks, but doesn't work the body as much as I would like to see from him. I mean, then again, in a lot of these fights, he doesn't really have to because his power just puts guys away. Granted, not all these guys are at the UFC level, but if you do a deep enough tape study on Dricus Duplessis, you see that he's got power in his hands. When he does throw head kicks or body kicks, they're nice. He just doesn't throw them all that often. I'd like to see him add some more body work into his game as he shoots up the rankings here. But yeah, very polished fighter. Comes in with a lot of hype. He knocks out Marcus Perez, who's kind of washed, but first round knockout over Marcus Perez is still impressive. And then he gets a second round knockout against Trevin Giles. Trevin Giles, a little one dimensional, but again, just another game fighter. He makes short work of these guys, makes it look easy. And you look at the names that he's supposed to fight over the last year, fights falling through. um, Andre Muniz, and then all on that April 9th card, you're supposed to take on Chris Curtis, then Fluffy Hernandez, then Kelvin Gastelum. So it shows that they have a lot of hype. I mean, a lot of expectations behind Duplessis. They want to build him up, and he's getting a long-time UFC veteran, a ranked guy here in Brad Taveres. And for Brad Taveres, I want to say he's turning his career around, but it's not like his career was ever in dire straits. I mean, he has some losses. He's taken some tough losses, let's say. But you look at the names, lost to Edmund Shabazian, he gets sat down with the right, and then gets caught with a clean head kick, gets flatlined there. That was when Shabazian was really coming up. what are you gonna do? He loses a unanimous decision against Israel Adesanya, which it just feels like this whole division is just made for Adesanya to reign forever. There's so many fighters with this Brad Taveres type game where they just can't get inside on Adesanya. So foregone conclusion there. Got knocked out by Robert Whitaker. Unanimous decision loss to Yoel Romero. So yeah, man, it speaks for itself. The other part of it though is he doesn't have wins over the best competition. He has wins over good competition. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if we look at the whole body of work, I think maybe Taveres has better strength of schedule. I mean, he definitely does. If I'm counting the losses, he has way better strength of schedule than Dricus du Plessis. But look at his last two wins here. Antonio Carlos Jr. Very game fighter for sure. He won PFL after getting let go by the UFC, but people always bitch, man. They don't understand the business side of things. Like they're like, why did Antonio Carlos Jr. get cut? Why did Omari Akhmedov get cut? It's like because nobody gives a fuck, dude. And they're gonna have to pay him like 120K to show, 120K to win. Um, and they don't really have a path to the title, so they let these types of guys go, and they go and they have opportunities. They'll sign with Bellator, they'll sign with PFL. So that's what the deal was with Antonio Carlos Jr. It's a close fight, but Taveres edges it out. Very good takedown defense. Just winning the fight when it is standing. Had the better combinations, cleaner lands. Good win for Brad Taveres. Wins a very close split decision against Omari Akhmedov. Same deal as Antonio Carlos Jr. Game fighter, just didn't really have a path to the title, and they let him go. I believe he also went to PFL. I cannot remember though. But yeah, solid round three knockout over Christoph Jocko. That's a very good win. Elias Theodoro was around for a minute, like to run away a lot in the octagon, but it's a good win. And so yeah, he's got some good wins. He was in the UFC at a young age, got fed to some killers, and I feel like he just kind of got forgotten about. So he comes in riding a good two-fight winning streak. Stylistically, both of these guys have a very similar style on the feet. They both look primarily to land the boxing combinations. I think that Taveres mixes in his kicks a little bit better. He's got very good low leg kicks. That was pronounced against Akhmedov. He was landing very well. He was landing very well with those against Antonio Carlos Jr. also. They'll both sit in the pocket and try to find that big overhand, big hook, and then they'll look to reset. Du Plessis, I think, is a little bit more aggressive, but with Taveres, it's typically he'll throw a boxing combination, then he'll reset. Sometimes he'll throw an extended one, but it's usually just like a 1-2, and then he resets. They both throw some wayward leg kicks, but I think, again, Taveres is a little bit more accurate, and he works in more body kicks, more head kicks. He's got very good body kicks for sure. So good kicking game for Brad Taveres. Both guys they can get hit. They leave themselves open to getting hit in some of these exchanges. I look at both of them and I worry about either one against a very technical striker. We've already seen that with Du Plessis and Taveres. They've both been broken down by technical strikers. But in terms of this fight, when they're trading at range, I think I like Du Plessis' aggression, accuracy, and power a little bit more. And I also like his defense too because what he lacks in head movement and where he makes you a little bit nervous with leaving his chin up, he blocks shots very well. He's got a very tight guard. He blocks head kicks well. I like Du Plessis' ability to block shots, and I like his chin. He's been in some barn burners before. Tavares doesn't necessarily have a bad chin or anything. He has been dropped before. He has been knocked out. So is Du Plessis, but I think that Du Plessis has a little bit better chin, but again, both guys leave themselves vulnerable. So either one can get knocked out at any time. But for this one, earlier in the week, Du Plessis was the underdog at like plus 100 ish, which is pretty crazy. He's now the slight favorite at minus 125. And I agree with that. I'm going to go with Dricus du Plessis. I think he's just a little bit cleaner everywhere. Taveres has good takedown defense, but I think du Plessis very strong on the ground. If he has to mix it up, I think he'll go there. If he does start getting his leg kicked off, I talked about it in the Soldic fight. He did get broken down, but he was returning fire also. He landed a lot of his own heavy leg kicks, so he's not going to accept just getting broken down by Brad Taveres. He's very hungry, very motivated. He's got the will. But again, man, very close fight. Similar styles. I just think that du Plessis has a little bit more power. He's a little bit cleaner. I like him a little bit better everywhere. Like honestly, just all around. And yeah, I put a unit on this one at -125. Again, it would have been nice to get it earlier in the week, but I think great DFS value for Duplessis as well. And yeah, I like Duplessis in this fight. So thanks for watching, guys. Sure to subscribe and take it easy.